You're listening to the Vick757 podcast featuring Dwight Michael Vick talking all things tech.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the edition of the Vick757 Show, talking all things tech. I'm your host, Dwight Vick, former offensive lineman, captain in the all-conference player, along with my cuz, the great one, the GOAT, Mike Vick.
Little cuz, big cuz, little cuz, the connection, the collaboration, big cuz, little cuz. They know what it is. Cuz I'm looking like the coach today.
Yeah,
coach.
You do. I feel like you should be blowing the horn. Next period.
I hated seeing coaches in this orange. I know Ronyell gonna have a lot to say about this.
Speaking of Ronyell,
have a lot to say.
Speaking of Ronyell, we got a great guest joining us today. Actually, for the first time in the Vick757 Show, we're bringing you two guests. One of them being All-American, All-Conference, Ronyell Whitaker, never shy on words, part of that great DBU legacy. And also, first-time lineman, Jake Grove is joining us, All-American Drake Grove.
My man.
One of the best to ever do it. A nasty offensive lineman, played in the NFL, played for the Oakland Raiders and also the Miami Dolphins. I've talked to Jake. He came in as I was leaving. I remember he said he saw me and he said he didn't think he was ready for college football because he had never seen somebody that big. So I always laugh when he told me that story. But Jake is my guy, man. But before we get them on here, man, cuz did you see the game, West Virginia? Our Hokies, man, had so many opportunities in the second half, man. And I think the telling stat was, I don't have it in front of me, but we were in the red zone 4 times. All our points came from outside the red zone, but we had 4 trips down there, walked away with nothing, a missed field goal. Even the last play of the game, we were down there at the 3-yard line. After a late turnover, we had 4 chances and we didn't get it in there and lost 27-21. First time West Virginia has beaten us, the Hokies, since 2003. Now, obviously,
wow.
We don't play every year anymore. We played a few years ago in FedEx in 2017, I believe, and Hokies won that game. But at the end of the day, man, that was a tough loss. But at the same time, Virginia Tech, man, they did not take advantage. And, I don't know if you saw it, but what are your thoughts, man?
I seen it, cuz I had to pay attention to what was going on and tune in. I think after everything that happened in the game, it all came down to what happened in the end, and having a chance to, score with 4 downs. Like there was 4 down territory, and everybody knew it. And that's when you got to come with your best. So it was disheartening to see that. I know the kids, they learned a lot from that experience, because when you get in the red zone, you got to cherish those moments. It's so hard to get down there, and then West Virginia, for whatever reason, gave us a gift. They wasn't even supposed to pass the ball in that situation. So for them to do that, showed that they was bold, but it backfired. We had a chance and we didn't capitalize on it. And I just hope the next time we're in that situation, cuz, that we can score points and we can win a football game. It said a lot about your team.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was frustrated, man. A lot of fans have been hitting me up on Twitter. I've done some radio shows already. There's been a lot of criticism thrown at the offensive coordinator, Brad Cornelsen, because they felt like, some of the play calling was less, just not putting their players in position. Your old teammate and your brother, who I've been around at your MV7 camps, Roddy White, tweeted, basically, I'm paraphrasing, that you got to give your players a chance. That might have been the worst red zone call. He's referring to, it was 3rd and goal with the game on the line. They did a jet sweep to the short side. No one knows.
Yes, there's too much of that, man. It's too much of that, cuz everybody's offense looking the same. It's easy to point out. So you imagine what the defense going through. We just played a team that looked identical to this. They might change a couple of things, but they run the jet sweep like this and they run it in the red zone. It's just the tendencies that come with the offensive side of the ball. You give away too much, these coordinators are going to figure it out. So we just got to get better in certain areas, and I'm glad it happened early in the season as opposed to later.
Yeah, and that's the way I see it. Like, I'm not about trying to get no one fired. I don't even think that's going to help the team. At the end of the day,
No,
I've always felt in a loss, you can point out everybody on the team. You can point to offensive tackles. You can look at the guards. You can look at the safety. The secondary tackling was poor. You had a lot of false starts. You can go down from the coaches, from everybody to the strength coach to the kickers. There was a missed field goal.
Right.
Big plays. Guys were out of position on defense. The linebackers got out of position. There was miscommunications. There was big plays given up on third down. As a former player, if you think just firing the offensive coordinator is going to fix everything, and at 2-1, that's not going to do it. I think at the end of the day, as Coach Beamer taught both you and I and the guests we got jumping on, you have the whole season ahead of you still. You're 2-1. That wasn't even a conference loss. And we've seen already the ACC is wide open. That includes Clemson. Right. You got Richmond this weekend in Lane Stadium, an out-of-conference game. Again, a game you should win by double digits. And then you got a bye week before Notre Dame. And then you got Syracuse and Pitt and all those guys coming to Blacksburg. I believe Boston College as well. So the bottom line is, you can win the ACC. You can win the Coastal. But you already beat Carolina, and we caught them at the right time. They just smashed UVA. They put 59 points against UVA. So it's right there for the taking.
That's why I said what I said, and you mentioned it, and you said it all. To sum it up, for all the fans watching, it's not about firing the coach or firing the coordinator. It's about learning from the experience. If every time something bad happens, you say, "Oh, fire this guy," and ain't nobody gonna have jobs. Nobody will have jobs. That's not right. These coaches work extremely hard, and we've seen the work that's been put in. Okay, now you go back and look at it and say, next time we got to switch it up and we got to do this. Next time you're going to have to do X, Y, and Z. That's the way you gradually grow in the game of football, and that's the way your offense evolves. I've seen too many coaches do that, and you're right, because firing a guy or even talking like that is just not the answer. So let's keep it positive, VT Nation. Let's keep it positive, man, and look forward to just growing the next week all together.
Yeah, because look, at the end of the day, and I know we are the older group because we were part of the group that started all, but I remember, when we lost games with Coach Bussell and Steinspring and those guys, I remember being on campus, and we lost to Cincinnati when I was a redshirt freshman, 16-0 at home. We had Miami coming in. Tech had never, ever beat Miami. Miami had Ray Lewis. We ended up beating them with the same plays we lost to Cincinnati on. And Miami was ranked in the top 12. And it was a matter, we went back and looked at the film, everybody took ownership of the loss. Everybody knew they had to step their game up. You guys saw that, and you came in and did your thing. And that goes on, even when Tyrod was there, Brian Randall, Jim Druckenmiller, Al Clark. You can talk to a lot of guys and tell you that it's not always about the play calling. And going back and looking at some stuff, I think Brummeister knows he's got to be better. You played that position. Yes. He missed some throws. He's got to be better. He knows that, right?
Yes. Yeah. Like, I think when you go back and look at the film, and even the guys on the team, they pay attention to the media. If somebody's saying something consistently, then it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem that has to be addressed and fixed sooner or later, because those echoes, they're not going to stop. If you got to push it down the field a little more, then people are saying that for a reason. It's things that we want to see out the quarterback position, because that naturally, as an alpha, I know that position right there drives the ship. We can't play without you guys. We can't play without the bigs, without a doubt. Nothing happens. But extending from the bigs to the quarterback, you got control over what happens with the offense. Burmeister got to take ownership, and some of the things that hasn't gone right over the last couple of weeks, particularly last week, but seeing how he can improve. You know what I'm saying? Because seeing I can improve in this area, I can stretch the field, like you said. I can throw more deep routes, more deep concepts. Let me get involved and see how this play out.
No doubt. Well, let's get some more professionals for the job. Let's get our guest in here right now, man. Let's get them in here. Let's see what they're talking about, man. I am really excited about this. We are reuniting you with your guy.
Yes.
What's up?
Guess who's Zach? Still smelling in my clothes.
Hey, Ronyell, can you hear me?
What's that? Yeah,
Hey, turn your, where you at, man? You in the basement?
Hey, Ronyell, you got a speaker system going on in there, man.
Hold up.
Yeah, you sound like you in at the airport.
I
Jake.
like it when it's natural.
What's up, guys?
I like it when it's authentic.
Is that's the button? That's the button.
Hey, Jake, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you all?
I'm good.
Jake,
what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Good to see y'all.
Good to see you, Ronyell. How you doing, partner?
I'm good, man. I just opened this suitcase like in Pulp Fiction. You see the light shining on your boy. Ain't nothing changed, baby. Ain't nothing changed. I'm good,
hey, Ronyell, you still watch a lot of movies, don't you?
Tons of movies. Look, let me give you something real quick. So, I was walking down the street 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And one guy was coming walking, one guy was on a bike.
Yeah.
I didn't know where I'm going with this. So they was trying to jockey. The guy on the bike was trying to go left, and then the guy walking with the groceries was going right and hit the dude on the bike. If that didn't remind me when we were leaving Castle Coliseum and going to the dome, and the cat on the bike got hit by the guy walking, and you were like, look, man, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to get fight him, bro. You need to get No way you hit somebody on the bike. No way you hit somebody on a bike.
I didn't encourage that. Encourage that. Ronyell, you like Dwight. Y'all don't forget nothing.
Yeah.
I got elephant brains.
Yeah.
Elephant brains.
Yeah, me and Ronyell, we remember a lot.
Everything.
We remember everything.
Greatest storytellers ever.
Hey, and what I definitely remember about both of you and Jake Ronyell is after I left Tech, you guys carried the torch, man. Jake, I've told you when I've interviewed you, when I had my column, I've talked to you when I saw you when I came back to Tech. I mean, between you, Jim Pine, Bill Conity, oh my goodness, man. Key Short, the centers we had at Virginia Tech, you were one of the best to ever do it. You were nasty. People hated you, man. And then Ronyell, you had that same attitude on the defensive side because you talked. So people hated you too.
Before, look, let me tell you, Ronyell, the attitude is the attitude of a Hokie, hands down. That's the way, the attitude you got to portray is the attitude that Ronyell came to play with. Jake, I was just talking to D'Angelo Hall a few minutes ago, played golf with him today, and he was telling me how, in terms of, your toughness, and I told him we was about to do a podcast together, he was about to jump on. He was like, man, Jake hit me in my back in the scrimmage, and I had a hairline fracture, and it still affects me to this day. He was nasty. Like, I can't believe he did that 2 days before a scrimmage. He was like, I couldn't even play against Syracuse, and we had a shootout, and we lost. I said, man, look, I mean, if you know Jake don't take no mess, man. It's all good.
I did what I had to do.
I'm pretty sure that ain't affect them too much of that 80-some million, 6 Pro Bowls and 4 All-Pros.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Now he want to complain.
He's okay.
Now he want to complain.
Jake. Now he want to complain.
That shootout. Hey Jake, was that the shootout when you guys went to Syracuse? Brian Randall threw 5 touchdowns, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ernest Wolford was on fire, and we could not stop Troy News.
Yep. That's right. Ernest, Keith Willis, all those cats, man. We scored a lot of points. They were good, man.
Yeah.
No doubt.
But look. Let's talk about Tech, man. But let's talk about Tech. Like, I want to get you guys' thoughts, man, because I know if we get off kilter, man, we'll talk all day. Then, our fans will be like, yo, all this reminiscing. We got to talk about Tech because this is talking all things Tech. Did you guys, Ronyell, I'll start with you first. Did you see the Hokies against West Virginia this last weekend?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so
what you think, Ronyell?
What you think?
It's exactly what I expected. You don't go into Morgantown and just win. Like, I don't care how. Look at us. We went to the ship. You know what I mean? I'll be the first to say going in there. It's no different from getting the bus rocked. You know what I mean? And watching the hill and all the people and coming down into that stadium. Morgantown, if it was a dome, it'd be illegal to play in there. That's the original Vick stadium. You know what I mean? Like those places, you don't just walk in there and win. You know what I mean? We went in there in '99 with the most prolific offense and defense that has ever walked Blacksburg
in Tech history.
In Tech history, and it was a struggle to come out of there with a win.
Yep.
You know, so I love the fight. Of course, being a Hokie, we don't put our hats on no moral victories. You know what I mean? We go in there, we lock the gate, we kick your teeth in, we go home. That's how we do it. You know what I mean? And I think what those boys put on display this past game, I was proud of them. They fought. If they would have went in there and got blown out, something different. But I saw plays where sometimes they were a little undisciplined. But look who's talking. You know, so that's going to happen, and that's the atmosphere that Morgantown brings. Is no different if they step in the Lane Stadium. They know,
absolutely.
You know, yes, sir. And it ain't like it's gonna just be blowouts. So I was proud of the team. I was proud of what J Ham, Coach Fuentes, what they did. You know, these kids fought, and I was proud of them. To be honest, even if losing after, I was still proud of them.
What you think, Jake?
You know, I agree. If I'm not mistaken, we went down 14-0 pretty quick, and you know, they really had a decision to make because it could have been 60-7. We could have lost by a lot of points, but man, they fought hard. They never gave up, and at the end of the game, you know, in a position to win it. So, man, I was really, really proud of them. Again, tough place to play. You know, when you lose the first game, you know, of the season, you know, it seems like all is lost. But you know, I think they're 2-1 now, or they've got a good record. They got a chance to win a lot of games this year, and I'm excited for what the future holds for them, especially the defense. I agree with Ronyell, man. Justin Hamilton's got him playing. So proud of him and all those guys. I thought it was a good performance. Obviously, you'd like to win, but nothing to be ashamed of. Tough place to play and something to build on.
Jake, I want to ask you this, man. I'll start with you, then Ronyell. I'll get your thoughts on this. Everybody on this podcast tonight has been in the moments of facing adversity, right? You know, we didn't have social media. It kind of was coming around as I was leaving, and you guys were playing and started to really pick up, and then it became what it is now. But at the same time, we still faced scrutiny from the media. We still had to keep the team together. You had to be a leader. Jake, you were definitely a leader on some really good teams, and also a team we had Brian Randall on a few weeks ago on this one with Mike and I. And I told him this, that team you and Brian Randall on might have been one of the best teams ever in Virginia Tech history, but you guys didn't finish the way you like. I mean, you started off great, but then you had some tough losses to West Virginia and Boston College. I mean, you guys had some tough losses, but y'all were loaded with talent with Ernest Wilford, you. What would you tell the team if you were on the team right now? You know, I know you guys we got Richmond coming up, and then we got a bye week in Notre Dame, then we kick in the conference play. But just to keep the team together, what would be your words to the guys playing on the team right now if you were still part of the program?
You know, you can look back at my senior year. I believe that's the last time we lost to West Virginia.
Yep.
6,000 some days or something like that. And, you know, that was our first loss of the season. I believe we were the number 3 ranked team in the country. Yep. And we obviously didn't handle that very well. I agree with you. That team probably as talented as any team to ever come through Virginia Tech. And didn't finish the way we should have. Ended up losing to Cal in the Insight.com Bowl or something like that.
Yeah, that was it with Aaron Rodgers.
Yep. But, you know, this team, you know, they got a decision to make. They could build on what just happened, went into a hostile environment and let one slip away from them. Or, you know, they can tuck it in and they'll finish 6-6, not like what we did. But I really believe this team, you know, they're going to put their heads down. Again, Justin Hamilton, if that defense is playing the way it did against West Virginia in that environment, they're going to be just fine. They've got good leadership. I know the center, Brock Hoffman. You know, they've got some really good players. They're gonna come out of this just fine.
No question.
Ryan, real quick, what you think about Justin Hamilton and the scheme he's been able to put out on display and the defense he's been able to run? Do you like what you've been seeing so far?
Oh, absolutely. It's subtle moves, but all I got to do is watch the boundary corner, and I can tell exactly this is Bud-like. It's a Bud in there, you know what I mean?
Okay.
One time I even seen him do this, and I knew that was a check with me, and I'm like, he's still check with me. So, so that's the beauty where I'm like, he's young, but you can see it. You know what I mean? You can see the picture. It's there. Now, I'm excited what he's going to look like 10 years from now. You know what I mean? Because he's peeling the layers back. The layers are being back. But even when I watch him celebrate, it's Bud Light. Even if you don't know it, even the last time when I talked to him a couple weeks ago, I told him, I said, even your mannerisms are Bud Light, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Wrong with that. But I can tell the vision is there. He understands that the standard is the standard, and we're going to stick with that. You know what I mean? That lunch pail and that piece of paper that you put in there, you got to hold those guys accountable to that, and he understands that. And the way I watch him interact with guys, he's on his way, man. Proud of him. I'm proud of him. Because remember, we watched him when he came in as on his visit. Remember? He came in on his visit. Now he
once again, Ronyell, don't forget nothing. I must have got hit too many times. Obviously, I didn't have Jake Grove protecting me, so I got hit a bunch of times.
Now, only because he was in the secondary, to be honest. You know what I mean? I'm going to be honest. It ain't you, Mike. It's me. You know what I mean?
Secondary.
That's it.
Hey, but Justin Hamilton, if I remember correctly, he played in secondary, but he also played on offense. He did it all. He was used a lot.
Absolutely.
He was used everywhere. So he gets it. I mean, think about this. You got to understand something. Beamer, we all played for him, but Coach Beamer, when it came to versatility, you have Macho Harris, D'Angelo Hall, Ike Charlton, and Justin Hamilton. Very few people he gave the green light to bounce around and use like that. That's a very unique position to be in, man. Like, I'm excited for Justin Hamilton. I'm excited for the team because I was like you, Jake. I was sitting there like, we getting ready to get boat raced. You know what I'm saying? When it was 14-0, because I know what it's like to go to Morgantown. I went 1-1 there, and it's not a place where you can just walk in and think you're going to win. The fans on top of you. It's crazy. You know, I see you shaking your head, Ronyell. I see you shaking your head, Ronyell. You remembering it, right?
That place is scary.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I'm from Young's Park. That place is scary.
I remember going in there, and I just remember, you know, I felt comfortable. Now, Jake, I never had a chance to play with you. I had Keith Short that year. He made me feel real comfortable with it. It wasn't a comfort level that night. Jake, as you watch our offensive line, what you've seen out of the last 2 weeks, is it reminiscent of the offensive line that you played with as far as toughness and nastiness? What do you see out of our offensive line? Something that could potentially get better or could hurt the team?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. You know, I really like the center, Hoffman. You know, I think he plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. And I really believe it starts there. You know, the tackles make all the money, but to me, it starts in the middle. That guy gets everybody on the right, on the same page, going in the right direction. And you know, he's just a tough kid that plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. And, you know, to me, it's being a good offensive lineman is about half effort and about half talent. And those guys are some talented guys that give a lot of effort. If you got that, you got a really good mix. So I think they're going to be better every week. And I look forward to what happens with them.
Jake, I love him too. And I'm going to just say this. I told Mike the story when I interviewed you, and you told me this. You said on your recruiting visit, you said you saw me walking around Castle, and you said, man, if they that big, I don't know if I can play at this level.
Hey, cuz, you was huge, cuz.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, he was like massive. I would have ran traps right behind you all day if I was Coach Bustle. What was he thinking?
Hey,
Shout out to Coach Bustle.
Hey, Bustle believed in me, man. You know, but you're right. You know what? I think it was. I'm still big, but I think the shoulder pass helped too. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah. We had
because you're a big. I mean,
no.
Him and Dad.
Yeah.
Hey, it's like yo. I mean, I was pretty intimidated when I came. My experience when I first walked through the doors, and I would love to hear this from you, Ronyell, and Jake, and you too, Dwight. When y'all first walked through the doors of Virginia Tech, what was the feeling like? Because I know it was one point when I first got there, I was ready to quit. I'm gonna just say that.
Oh,
what about you,
I'll be real quick. Hold on, Brian. I'll be quick. I was having second thoughts because I saw Cornell Brown, Hank Coleman, Jim Barron, Brian Edmonds, Pooms, even the homie Antonio Banks was push pressuring 330, 340 with no belt on.
Come on, man.
I was like, I'm coming from Hampton thinking I'm the best thing ever. And I was like, yo, I was like Jake the way he saw me. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready, man. What was it like, yo?
It was the same. It was the same. When I first stepped in and met my classmates, you know what I mean? My class, you know, OTP, all those guys, you know, cool. The minute we got out to practice and I saw the aggressiveness of Ike Charlton, the technique of Midget and Lauren Johnson, you know what I mean? The aggressiveness and the bite of Pearson Prelude. And I thought to myself, man. Oh, I gotta work. I gotta change. Yep, I gotta change. This whole stuff that happened before I got here, you get a piece of everybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wasn't ready for it. You know, right. I wasn't ready for that. You know, Reggie Samuel ran right past me day one before he moved to the secondary. Ran right past me day one. I was like, oh, Lord, I can't do this. I don't know if I'm going to back to the dorm. And me and Mike, we've had our conversations at night.
Yep.
I mean, and just be like, man, like, can we, you know, and you're talking about guys who just
real.
Just like you, Dwight, that's always been here. You know what I mean? That for their teams. You get there, you're like, okay, we got to step up our game. This is serious. So, yeah. and at the same time, it was just one of those situations where taking pieces from those guys made me more comfortable because they were all willing to put their arms around us.
Right.
It wasn't about nobody coming in and taking nobody's job. They were never worried about that. They put their arms around us and say, win out.
Shout out to the boys.
Yeah, straight up.
Jake, what about you, man? I know you joked about when seeing me, but when you got there, and you know, what was it like?
You know, when I was in high school, I was a 0-star recruit. So when I got to Tech, my main goal was just to prove to Coach Beamer that him coming here and giving me a scholarship was, you know, I tried my best. You know, I didn't have these grand NFL aspirations. That wasn't on my radar when I first got there. I just wanted to give everything I had to, you know, make it worth his while, you know, to make sure I gave everything I had because, man, I just appreciated so much him taking a chance on me. And then, you know, that first 9-on-7 inside run drill, it was like a third-string middle linebacker came down the hill on an ISO and hit me. I didn't know people. And I said, man, all right. Well, you know, so I got to know Coach Gentry really well, and I credit him with all my success. Without him, I wouldn't be in this house, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. He really changed me, and he built my confidence, you know, from the ground up. So yeah, man, I was kind of starstruck when I got to Tech, man. I'm seeing the guys that were in my recruiting class, Ronyell and Mike, and man, these guys were stars to me, and I just wanted to, you know, be able to play with them. And you know, as it turned out, I did, and I made it happen.
The Raiders.
Hey, look, and everybody on this call, everybody on this call had a chance to put on a professional uniform, and I think that's really cool. Says a lot.
Yep, absolutely.
Hey, Jake, Jake, I do want to ask you this, and then we got my favorite part of our show is Hokie Trivia is coming up, and then we got Hokie shout outs. But I do want to ask you this, Jake. You talk about the linemen you played against and played with in the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders and Dolphins, but also on a collegiate level, man. Like when you got to Tech, you mentioned seeing Mike and Ronyell. But were there other linemen were you familiar with? I mentioned earlier Jim Pine and Bill Connolly. Were there other linemen you watched in the NFL or college? Because linemen, it's funny. We are in a position where we are asked to protect and move other 300-pound plus men from one position to another. So a running back can go and score touchdowns. But we have to also be aware of the different fronts. If they're in the 8-man front, are they shading left? Am I helping here? Combo blocking. Also identifying the mic protections. Where's that Sam? Where's that Will? And we have to be athletic enough to get to the second level. Was there somebody you watched before you, whether they were a Hokie or even pros or NFL guys or college guys that you watched when you were getting to Tech and while you were at Tech?
I grew up on a farm. We didn't have cable television or anything like that, man. So the only opportunity I really got to see big time football was when it rained. When I was a little kid, it would rain and it would rain out my rec league game. So I got to go watch Virginia Tech with my dad. We would go to the Virginia Tech game when it rained. So, what I think back to is Jim Pine. I knew that's a name I've known for a long time and somebody that I've respected a long time. Just the way he moved. I remember watching film of him one time, and I asked Coach Steinspring, I said, man, is this in fast forward? Because he's moving faster than I've ever seen anybody move. And man, just a lot of the great Hokie players over the years, man, guys that I looked up to and tried to model my game after. Billy Connolly, another one. Gennaro DiNapoli, yourself, just the guys that came before me. That meant a lot to me, especially once I got to Virginia Tech.
The brotherhood. Ronyell, I want to ask you something on a funny tip, because when I told a few people that was going to be on, you and Jake mentioned the GOAT, Mike Gentry, who was on my other podcast, who I love to death and what he did, but I don't know if he could coach the way he did when we were playing. Because there was a time, I want to know if you remember. So I'm coming back. I had gotten released by the Ravens. So Gentry said, come train with me. I want you to help out. All right. So I was there with him. You and Mike were still playing. And you know how it is. Jake probably got so annoyed with them 757 guys, but you guys were on one of the squat racks. And it was you. I don't know if you were part of it, but it was Mike.
Y'all memories are amazing.
It was
I know
Mike,
exactly where he's going with this. Emmett Johnson, TP, and Mike and Emmett, when they went at each other, they couldn't stop. So Mike and Emmett are arguing about the South Side versus Peninsula and South Norfolk, and all of a sudden, I'm looking and I'm watching them unload the squat bar, and Mike and them are arguing, but they don't unload the squat bar at the same time. And the squat bar pops up and hits the wall, and everybody in the weight room looks.
Yeah,
and,
I blame Emmett.
And Mike Gentry.
I know that. He said that then too.
And Mike Gentry.
I think Emo hated me for that after. Shout out to my man Emo, but Emo ain't liked me for a while after that.
And Mike Gentry said, "What are you guys doing? Get the hell out of my way!
Get the hell out of here!"
And Mike, had to leave. Hey, look, and Mike and all them ran like Ricky and Boys in the Hood, man. They just hit Mike might have ran another 4. Mike, Emmett, everybody. You remember that, man?
I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember Mike blaming Emmett. He blamed Emmett. Yep. But he blamed him. It was very casual, but he blamed him. All of us had to leave because the first person who told us that we needed to chill out, I think it was Danny Will.
Yes.
It was somebody else. Yeah, I think it was Danny Will that was telling us we needed to chill out. 757.
We was too old for that. We was too old for that.
Trying to hear that. Mama was trying to hear that. You know what I mean?
Danny.
Danny, go ahead, man. You know what I mean? And once that bar went up and hit that wall, man, he said it exactly right. Just like and them cats started getting up out of there just like Ricky. Just like Ricky.
Hey, that made
Boy, Gentry said, "Get the hell out of
He
here."
was so hot. Standing by the door. Standing by the door. So
corner.
you
He's way in the back.
Yep.
Hey, Jake, did you ever the 757 is always Hey Jake, the 757 then and now has always been outspoken. The Richmond guys as well, 804, Florida guys as well, but the 757, especially being in Virginia, you being where you from, did those guys, because I know even when I was there, we are very confident. We don't think nobody in the country can touch us. Did you have to just tune us out? You know what I'm saying? Or you just laughed and were like, whatever, that's just them and how they are. Like, how was it, man?
You know what? I really appreciated playing with people from everywhere, man. Like, that was one of the beautiful things when I was at Tech. You know, when we were all there, you think about it, man. We had people from the 757, you know, people from Lynchburg, Roanoke area, and then people from Southwest Virginia. And you know what? We made it work. Yep. You know, everybody got along. Everybody, you know, it just worked. And man, it really was a special thing. And I appreciate those times and everybody that was a part of it.
Jake, tell me about that story. Jake, tell me about the story and what happened with D Hall, because he claimed you cheap shotted him in the scrimmage that cost him a game against Syracuse, and I think we lost. Brian Randall threw 5 touchdowns, but D Hall was like, man, if I would have been out there, I would have been a difference maker. Ronyell and guys, they needed my help. And he like, Jake hit me in the back. I got a hairline fracture to this day and all this and that. What happened, Jake?
Man, you know, I don't remember that one as all that well, but I tell you, one of my favorite D'Angelo stories, man, it was like his second day of practice, right? And I think I was a sophomore. I guess I was a sophomore, but I've been there like 3 years. I redshirted a couple times or whatever I did. And then, you know, so I've been there a long time. I'm the start center. D'Angelo's been there 2 days. He's like 17 years old, and I pull out on a screen to block the corner, and I hit him. And D'Angelo turns around and he goes, man, I'll fight you right now.
Yeah,
I said, okay.
I was in jail.
I mean, I was like, man, this guy, he's gonna be special. He's gonna be special. He's a competitor, man. He really is.
Camelot housing projects.
Absolutely. Look, our first day, D'Angelo Hall, first day. Shout out to D'Angelo. It's my brother. I love him to death, like I love all y'all. His first day in practice in Atlanta, he cursed our coach out, Jim Morris, so bad.
Oh, Lord.
I'm a grown man. Don't talk to me like that. It's first. So, Jake, I mean, the controversy and as far as the confrontation, that's D'Angelo, but he cursed out our coach first day, and I knew he was going to be special.
Oh, boy, D Hall. I love
it. D Hall.
Absolutely.
That's
shout out to D Hall.
That's my man. I like to think of. He always say, "I'm your protege." I'm like, bruh, you better than me. All right. Even to this day, he'll still be saying it. And I'm like, yeah, stop it, you know. But I remember when D'Angelo when he came on his recruiting visit, and he came to our apartment, and we had, you know, everybody over there, you know, a lot of the recruits or whatever. And he came straight up to me. He was like, I'm also all time with a player of the year too. And I was like, oh, I know who you are, you know.
Yeah, for real?
Yeah. Right in my own apartment. Lady, I'm like, you don't see this 90-pound all white pit back here? her name Lady, by the way. But yeah, I'm D'Angelo Hall. I'm gonna take your spot. And I was like, I don't know if he was joking or what, but I was like, that's how you're supposed to think. If you're gonna play on this defense, that's what you're supposed to think. You know what I mean? Just firing back, you know. Right. And then I remember the first day of practice, we done with practice, we go in the locker room, and he come up to the locker, he was like, I can't take your spot, man. He was like, I just watch you in those drills, man.
It's different.
And the way everything, your technique, but see, at that time I done already took some from Lauren,
right?
And the technicians, and the ladder drill and the footwork. Mike, you always notice that was my favorite part of the day. Oof. Footwork. You know what I mean? You know, and I told him, I said, as far as an athlete, you gifted. You have me beat on all the levels. But technique will win over talent, speed, height.
Any day.
It'll win. I will dominate it. You know what I mean? And if you're faster than me, I'm gonna press you and slow you up.
Yeah.
If I'm playing off, I'm gonna get out of my back pedal on time. It's all technical. And then once he understood that, he went from being raw talent D'Angelo to like that guy.
Yeah.
To a whole nother level. And before I left Tech, I told him in my opinion, he would be the best defensive back to ever come out of Virginia Tech.
Wow.
Well, yo, hold on. I'm glad you said that, because that's what I wanted to ask you, because I get asked that a lot when I do radio, or even when I'm just around the way or up here in DC, because that DBU legacy is strong. You talking about, I was just taking notes, just thinking about off the dome. You talking about J. Ron Hosley, Ronyell Whitaker, Willie Powell, Lauren Johnson, Brandon Flowers, Garnell Wise, D. Hall, Ike Charlton, William Yarbrough, Anthony Mitchell, Philip Summers, Jimmy Williams, Eric Green, and I haven't even named.
I think everybody except Phil played in the pros.
I mean, it's, and we missing guys from the 80s. I didn't even get to my guys like Gene Bunn and them, so like, in my opinion, I don't really know if you can. Antonio Banks, I mean, there's so many. I don't know. I will say this, man, like, I love them all. I don't know who's the best. I asked Bud Foster, and I can't remember who he said. He was on my podcast. I wish I remembered. I want to say was it Jimmy? He mentioned somebody, but Brandon Flowers, I think he was a combination of everybody we mentioned. The only thing he probably didn't do well, because I don't remember him returning punts or kicks, because some of you guys return kicks and punts. But who is the best, Ronyell? Is it you? Who was the best?
Come on now. If I tell you, you better hook the sucker up. I'm gonna tell you right now. Look. In my opinion, all right. I would say the only reason I say D'Angelo is because when you put it all together, it's no different than Mike. Like when you watch a cat do 10 backhands and then do a somersault and then go dunk a basketball, and then have 4.2 speed and then have great agility, and like I looked at him as just almost like if he was 6'1", boy. If he was 6'1", he has all the tools. He has all the instincts to play corner. And he has bite. You know what I mean? You gotta have you gonna play this position. You
gotta have that bite.
You gotta have that bite. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to when all eyes are on you. You know what I mean? It starts up front. Yeah. You guys may not get the glory, but true football people know, in order for me to do my job on the back end, it starts up front. No different than in order for him to do his job, it starts up front.
Right here.
You know what I mean?
Speaking of it starting up front, I know how the offense don't flow without the offensive lineman doing their job. And me and Dwight was talking about that before y'all hopped on. Question for Jake and Dwight. Give me the top 5 offensive linemen that came through Tech and put y'all on the spot since.
Thank you.
Oh man. Hey, Jake, I'm gonna let you go. By the way, before we answer that question, I think Bud said on my podcast that it was D'Angelo, if I'm not mistaken. But go ahead, Jake. I'm gonna let you go because my
you
goodness.
need some time to think. Come on, Jake. Top 5 offensive linemen all time, V-Tech.
Man, you got to go Dwayne Brown.
Yeah, yeah.
Jim Pine, Billy Connolly. Man, that's the easy 3 right there.
Don't feel like you got to add Dwight.
Me and Dwight. There you go. Me and Dwight.
All right, there you go.
There it is.
All right, cuz.
All right, I'm gonna go Jay Haygood, because he was
pretty good.
Jay left his feet because he was a basketball player and tight end, and he had that he put on some girth, and Coach JB Grimes and Steinspring put him at tackle, and I see him hold Tony Brackens from Texas, who was one of the best, might be the best DN in the country, to half a tackle in the Sugar Bowl.
Wow.
I mean, Haygood kick step was smooth. Center, the GOAT, Jim Pine, and ain't even a debate. He ripped off a player's face mask one time in practice because he told the scout team guy to stop going hard. His name was Dibs. We call him Dibble. He's a real person. He's my guy. He's tight with Big Rich. God rest Big Rich soul. Jim Pine said, "Stop playing around," and the guy kept coming up. If you think Jake Grove is nasty, Jim Pine gave you one warning, and he ripped the face mask off the helmet.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Brute strength.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm also going to throw in Todd Washington. Todd Washington, I ran sure that he played as a true freshman. Todd was a student. I'm not surprised he's a great coach in the NFL. Yeah. Todd, when you get to Tech, you go from high school plays to, you get a book, this thick, you know what I'm saying? Right. And you got to know how to block every front. And Todd came in and he carried on that tradition of great players, man, as far as that center position. He could play center and both guards, and he can snap. And that's special because everybody can't snap with Warren Sapp coming at you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's 3. Oh, man, bruh. Mike, why you do this to me?
And then you and Jake.
I got hold on. I won't done. Jake Grove, he got to be there. Hall of Famer, special. I was a fan. I remember coming back, seeing Tech, and I was at practice, and Coach Steinspring said, I love Coach Steinspring so much. I get emotional thinking about him. Coach Stein said, "Big fella." And he pulled me to the side. He said, "See that guy right there?" I said, "Oh yeah, I remember he came in." He said he could be the best ever. And I watched Jake, and Jake never took a play off. Because when you a lineman, them first 4 periods, you don't feel like doing the steps and hitting the dummy. And Jake was just and the dude holding the dummy was going back. I said, "Yo, this guy." And then I saw him in the game, and I loved his quotes because he was like, "I'm not here to be your friend. I don't care if you don't like me." I said, he got that Darth Vader. He like Megatron. Megatron didn't care. Darth Vader called up his own son's wrist. He told Darth Vader told Luke Skywalker, "I'm your father," after he cut his hand off. That's how Jake Grove was. If you weren't down with me, you jumping down the pipe. That's what happened to Luke Skywalker. That's Jake Grove. Yep. So that's Jake Grove, Jay Hoodgood, Jim Pine, Todd Washington, and did I say Dwayne Brown? Yeah, Dwayne Brown. I remember Sharon Sid told me Dwayne Brown, Coach Pyramid, who went to Clemson, was at Tech at the time before he left to go to Clemson. And Dwayne Brown was a defensive lineman or tight end. He was a tight end, I think, Tight end. And they told him, if you switch to tackle, you will make millions. Because he was so athletic. And offensive lineman, when you a tight end, you don't look at it as the sexy position. Right. And then he switched and he became one of the best to ever do it at Tech. And he did, and he's doing it in the NFL. So Dwayne Brown's my 5th guy. So that's I got you, Mike. You got me on that one, but I was able to respond. And that's a
little Hokie trivia. It's all good for the guys on the Zoom call.
All right, so you guys, I warned you about this. We're jumping into Hokie trivia, right? So this, I'm going to hit you with, I go each one. I'm going to ask you all the time. All right, so first question. Ronyell, I'm going to start with you, and then Jake, you next, and Mike, you after him. Virginia Tech scored the most points in the game against an opponent. So this is the most points Tech ever scored in the game. Against which opponent? Was it against Syracuse in 1999? Was it against East Carolina in 2017? Was it against Akron in 1995? Or was it against Florida A&M? So this is the most points. So 50, 60, 70
Syracuse.
Points.
Syracuse.
So you think Syracuse is your answer, Ronyell? And what you want to go for a shot at the point total? Was it what you remember?
It was 62.
Okay, yeah, that's what you said. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Next thing you know, it's 62-0. And Coach Beamer told me, "You're done with the media for a little bit." Yep. My grandma still got that tape on ESPN. Look right up there. Yep. And next thing you know, it's 62-0.
Yeah.
Stay with the black.
Hey, we'll get banned from the media for a week.
Hey, Jake, who you going with? Was it against Syracuse in 99? Was it against ECU in 2017? I believe that was the Cam Phillips and those guys. Yeah. And was it against Akron? in 95, or was it against Florida A&M?
I don't remember us scoring more than that. I'm going to go with Syracuse.
All right. So you're going with Syracuse. And Mike, who you got? Syracuse 99, ECU 2017, Akron 95, or Florida A&M in 2004, I believe.
Syracuse, 62 points. We beat the brakes off them dudes. We beat the brakes. Yo, we did not expect to do that. We put 62 points up on them boys, and we ain't look back.
All right.
More kick the guy in the back.
Yeah. That is the game. That is the game that, ironically, Keith Bullock, one of the best linebackers ever do on the professional and college level, said Mike will never be a Donovan McNabb, and Mike shook him on the way to picking up a big play. But the correct answer is 95 against Akron. It was my redshirt freshman year. That still is a record for Virginia Tech football. We scored 77 points.
Wow.
Yes, in a rainstorm. We beat, and their star player for Akron was Jason Taylor. The all-pro that played for he was your teammate, right, Jay?
Yep, we were teammates a couple years. Yep.
I see why he didn't bring it up. We played, we won that game 77-27. Al Clark shined that day. Him and Pooms, everybody scored. I might have got a carry. They were terrible. They were terrible. All right. All right, okay, here we go. Next one. This is going to be fun. Which of the following players is not in the Virginia Tech Sports Hall of Fame? This player is not in the Virginia Tech Sports Hall of Fame. Is it Brandon Flowers? Is it Jake Grove? Is it Dwayne Brown, Billy Holsclaw, or Herb Thomas? This player is not in the Virginia Tech Sports Hall of Fame. Jake, I will say, no, Mike, let's go. You go first.
I'm going to say Billy Holsclaw.
Okay. Mike's answer is Billy Holsclaw. All right. Who you got, Ronyell?
I'm gonna go with Billy as well. That's why I was going up with that one. But for some reason, the name just seemed ring of honorish type.
Holsclaw.
Okay.
Sound like he was a legend.
Okay. And Jim. Oh man, this is gonna be fun. Not Jim. Sorry. Jake, who you got?
I'm gonna go with him. Holsclaw.
Okay. All right. You all are wrong.
What?
Yes, he is in the Hall of Fame. I forgot which year, and he was a heck of a player. I actually looked. I do the trivia. I looked these guys up. The person who surprisingly is not in the Hall of Fame is Dwayne Brown.
What?
For real?
I've been looking, unless I'm wrong. If we have a viewer watching, please correct me, but I researched it. I don't think he's in yet.
Hey,
I
BT.
don't think
BT. Wake up.
Yeah.
We need all our
That one right there. Oh,
Come on,
yeah,
man.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, man, real
Or
talk.
is it a case where he was better in the pros than he was in college?
Yeah, you can always make that case. Here's the thing, man. Drake just got it. Like Ben Taylor went in with you, Mike, and I remember people saying, "Yo, they were happy for Ben Taylor, who's my guy." But that's always one of them things where it's tough because the Hall of Fame with Virginia Tech is usually 2, maybe 3 football players, tennis, track, a coach, an AD.
Yeah.
So it's not like just the football players. So anyway, all right, here we go. In 2006, in the Chick-fil-A Bowl, Virginia Tech is playing the Georgia Bulldogs. Who was the starting quarterback for the Bulldogs? Was it A, Billy Cunningham, B, Matthew Stafford, C, Josh Freeman, or D, Nate Daniels? Ronyell, I'll go with you. Who was the starting?
Sorry, what was that year again?
2006, Chick-fil-A Bowl. Ronyell, you going first?
I'm gonna say you say 2006?
Yeah, 2000. Yeah, 2006.
I'm gonna say Matthew Stafford. I'm gonna say Matthew Stafford.
All right, Ronyell, you're saying Matthew Stafford. Jake, who you got?
Trying to do the math.
Jake, who you got? That's what you were doing. I didn't know what you were doing. I thought that was that Norfolk math.
It was.
A young talk man.
Public school system, man.
Man, I don't know if he was there yet. It might have been too early, but I'm going to go Matthew Stafford too.
All right.
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right.
So
I'm
thinking Matthew Stafford's in his 12th season. I mean, he would have had to come out in 2008. He could have. I don't know, man. I don't think it was Stafford. Somebody that's named Daniel was in that.
So just to repeat them, it's Billy Cunningham, Matthew Stafford, Josh Freeman, or Nate Davis.
Oh, it's Billy Cunningham.
Billy Cunningham. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the correct answer is Matthew Stafford.
You want me to tell you how
Did Billy Cunningham even play?
Billy Cunningham, hold on, Ronyell.
Go ahead.
Billy Cunningham is a fake name. It's a fake name I made up.
All right, so that was a good one, cuz.
Yeah, I couldn't
I'm gonna
think
get you on my trivia, but I remember seeing a guy named Cunningham.
Well, maybe because you
going
played in
across
Philly.
the red bulldog, Georgia Bulldog jersey.
You know what? He might be a real name, but like I was just like, I need a fourth name. Josh Freeman played at K-State, and Nate Davis.
Yeah, I eliminated him.
Yeah, Nate Davis played at Ball State.
Let me tell you how I knew it was Stafford. Because when I left Minnesota, that next year, when we went 0-16 in Detroit, they picked up that next year. Matthew.
Oh, for real?
That's why
you was in Detroit, right? Yeah.
I was in Detroit. We went 0-16 with them. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, my second year in Detroit, that's when I hurt my ankle. So I was on the IR. And that's because my first year we went OCC, we had Megatron. Kittler was our quarterback.
Right.
We went 16. And then that's how we got Stafford. So that's
Got you.
Let me do the math. 06, okay. Yeah, Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford.
Virginia Tech lost the game. It got out to a 21-6 lead. Sean Glennon had some late game turnovers, but Virginia Tech should have won that game. Started off red hot. Eddie Royal caught a long pass. Brendan Hill picked off Matthew Stafford. I think it was a throwback play, but Tech couldn't sustain it. End up losing the game. So tough loss, but of course, it wasn't like they lost to a scrub. Matthew Stafford is killing it right now and ended up having a great
school system, baby.
All right.
System. All right. That's how we doing in Norfolk public school system.
All right. Last one. Which defensive back ranked 7th all time with 12 interceptions for the Virginia Tech Hokies? Is it A, Willie Powell, B, Ronyell Whitaker, C, Jerron Hosley, or D, Gene Bunt? This defensive back ranks 7th.
I'm already eliminating Gene Bunt. He sound like he don't even exist. Gene Bunt out.
That's why I love. Sorry.
The process of elimination.
Okay, hold on.
I'm gonna get mine out the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna go with the household name. Willie Powell.
Willie Powell. Okay. All right. Mike's going Willie Powell. Jake, who do you got?
Man, I think Willie's got more than that. I think he's higher up on the list. I'm gonna have to go Ronyell.
Okay. You're going, Jake's going Ronyell. I'm just writing it down. And then Ronyell, who you got?
I'm gonna go with 86 with Leon Sandcastle. I'm gonna go with myself.
You had 12 picks by you.
I'm trying to do the math, man.
So okay. The correct answer is Jerron Hosley. He's tied.
Who the hell is that?
He's tied. You don't remember Jerron Hosley? Played with the Giants. He was there with David Wilson.
Yeah, I didn't know he played with Tech.
Yeah. That's why we do the trivia.
Wow.
Believe it or not, now you was clowning my homie Gene Bunt. Gene Bunt ranks first all time with 18 interceptions.
Word.
He was on my podcast, the Victory Life Legacy Spotlight.
For real.
18 interceptions. Yeah, and he was a dog. Played with what you call it? The quarterback. Oh my God, how do I not know his name? The head coach of Arizona. They play quarterback attack. Bruce Arians.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played with
Okay,
Bruce
got you.
Arians.
Respect.
Yeah, I got you with the fake name before because Gene Bunn, yeah, but no,
No doubt.
his record been there since, back in the day. Willie Powell, Jake, good call on that. He actually has more than 12. He's 14. He has 14 all-time interceptions. So the correct answer, and Jerron is tied. So I knew that would get you guys. So once again, that's our episode, our segment of Hokie Trivia. This has been a lot of fun, guys, man.
This podcast is so dope. Let me just
Hey, feel free to come back, Ron. Yeah, we coming back to get you, baby.
Yeah, man. Look, man. I'm like,
We coming back. You and Jake, y'all will be back.
I'll be back.
You guys have an awesome platform, man. This is like, I'm like, man, man. Yeah.
Thanks,
Hey,
Ron,
And I'm cute.
So-
And I'm still cute. I'm still
Hey,
Shout out to Ronyell Whitaker, man.
I love it. Before we do our Hokie shout outs, Mike and so many people call me a great storyteller. I remember seeing Jake on his visit coming back, but with Ronyell, it was crazy because Ronyell, you guys remember the visits and everything, the recruiting visits? Ronyell, for all our viewers that's watching, shout out to all our new subscribers. They're flooding in. We love the support. Hokie Nation, you guys ride for your alumni, your players. But I'll say this, Mike and Ronyell and TP prophesied in my apartment in Collegiate Suites what they were going to do. I remember because I had my then girlfriend, now my wife, Shanice, I had her Corolla.
Shout out,
And,
sis.
and
Shanice.
I was driving Mike and Ronyell around campus. Now, mind you, I'm 6'5". I'm driving the Corolla with my knees on the dashboard, and I got Mike and all them in the back. But I remember they were all like, we all come here and commit, man. We could take it to the next level and win a championship. And even Ronyell, I remember I was on the field playing in spring game. Mike came up, you guys came up. That was the weekend y'all came. And Ronyell, I don't know if you remember this, you probably do, but you asked Mike to play about what you do to front, and he was like, and you were like, sack.
I remember that. See how he used to play me out? That's how he used to play me out, bro.
Because my whole thing was, I knew what the world saw
Yeah.
on a carry,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew what the world was missing.
Right.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Come across the water to watch him play at Warwick. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was watching him play like
sack.
this cat right here. So when I had a chance to be with him outside of the high school all-star game, you know what I mean? Like I was messing with him like this. Whether we was at the amusement park or whatever.
Yeah, we went way back.
Yeah, I was always messing with him, but I always knew that like if we can get this piece right here, because he had just took his visit to Syracuse. And I remember we came in because he had a basketball game that night. I had a basketball game that night. And when we came in, we talked about it, and the other cat that ended up going to UVA, I ain't gonna get into that, but
don't.
Yeah. We was on the visit with that too, with him too, and all us like, and things where I was like, look, man, I know what people heard about Ronald Curry. Ronald Curry is all of that, trust me. But y'all have no idea about this other cat that's coming in here that a lot of y'all may not even know. You know what I mean? And that's when we actually got out there and it exploded in 99, where our offense was 480 points that year. Like,
yeah,
man, 40 points per game. You know what I mean? Like that was unreal.
And a good year.
When my grandfather said, Michael Vick is the best quarterback I've ever seen. Right then, I knew it was so. 'Cause my grandfather grew up with Joe Namath, like greats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when he said this about a kid that's 18, 19 years old, my grandfather, I was like, told y'all.
Hey, no doubt. No. So, I mean, it's been a blessing, man. So this has been another great show. But before we sign off, man, let's give our Hokie shout outs, man. I'm going to go first. Again, just a reminder for those watching and you guys on right now, we always want to show Hokies love. It could be an alumni, it could be a coach, it could be a Hokie doing something great and coaching, whatever it is, man. My Hokie shout out, going back to the West Virginia game, we don't do moral victories like Ronyell said, but I want to say this kid had a little bit of a slump last year, but he's off to a great start this year. He's also from the 757. I'm gonna shout out Tavion Robinson. He caught that touchdown pass. Last year he had a couple of muff punts. They took him off punt return. This year he's had some great returns so far. I love his attitude. I love the way he's playing. I think he's on pace right now for a special season, and he's a playmaker. And I'm always going to be an offensive guy, but I was thinking about who I wanted to shout out. I wanted to go with Tavon Robinson. So shout out to Tavon, man. Get those guys back on track this week for Richmond. Jake, who you got, boss?
Man, I'm gonna shout out a couple of coaches I had at Virginia Tech, Coach Brian Steinspring and Coach Mike Gentry. Without those two guys, man, I wouldn't be here right now, and I wouldn't have accomplished the things that I did. They definitely will be special to me my whole life, and I appreciate everything that they did and everything they stand for.
Yes, sir. I love those guys too, man. Gosh, I love those guys. Ronyell, who you got, man?
I'm gonna start out with some coaches first, then I'm gonna get into my DBU guys because I love those guys. You know what I mean? But from the beginning to the end, it's of course Coach Steinspring who gave me the opportunity. You know what I mean? I look at him like an extended part of the family. The same thing with Ricky Bussell. Ricky Bussell, I took parts from him, learning how to not bite on double moves. You know what I mean? And things and that grew me into the NFL. Of course, Mike, just them late night talks in the dorm room and all of that stuff. Those hitting the alarm clock in the morning when it's negative, he's out. You know what I mean? And using all our computer ink, put up Charles Woodson and all our idols and all of that. So it all stemmed from all of that until the guys I'm about to name now, the Eric Green, Willie Powell, Larry Austin, Jimmy Williams, D'Angelo Hall, Garnell Wiles, Anthony Midget, Lauren Johnson, Keon Carpenter, Corey Moore, Anthony Midget, Vincent Fuller, Billy Hardy. Damn. Just all those guys that was part of that DBU that helped me in my process. Because I took something from all of them, whether it was upper class or lower classmen, behind me or in front of me or whatever. It really didn't matter. So shout out to all those guys. Big fella Dwight, always been a big bro, man, back then to now. Jake, you've always just been one of those personalities where no matter how crazy I was, you were able to deal with. You was able to. So there's a lot of shout outs, just not the four guys on this screen, but just those people that I named. But at the same time, the list goes on and on. Everybody had a part of this. So thank you to everybody. Really appreciate it.
No doubt, bro. Yeah, it's all love. Same to you, Jake, and you, Big Cuz. But I'm gonna take the time, and I like the fact that Ronyell and Dwight and you, Jake, we keep it 100 about the people that we got love for, and whether it's players or coaches, I'm gonna stand the coaching family. I'm gonna shout out Coach Beamer, man, because without Coach Beamer, we wouldn't be doing this podcast. Without Coach Beamer, we wouldn't have our brotherhood. Without Coach Beamer, the opportunity to play in Sugar Bowls and Orange Bowls and the national championship game wouldn't have been there. We wasn't always the most tolerated, or we didn't always have our head on our shoulders, but he was patient with us. He gave us the benefit of the doubt, fair and firm, and treated us like men. And it was times that we did Wednesday mornings and we was chastised, got in trouble, but we always stuck together, man. We always found a way to laugh and cry together. And he always told us we had to do the things the right way. And I think that stuck with us. And we all been successful for years. And like I say, man, we still here to this day, man, having a true brotherhood conversation. And that means a lot. So shout out to Coach Beamer for keeping us together.
Absolutely. No doubt.
Frankie baby.
Those are some great shout outs, man. I love it. Hey, I love it. I still roll my papers up like Coach Beamer. See this right here? I still roll them up.
Hey, right now, man, you gotta get in there and you gotta give him a little bit.
Love you, Coach. Hey, man, I love y'all, bro.
Hey, Coach, absolutely. Love y'all, man.
Love.
Awesome, appreciate it, guys.
Love. Yeah, so look, real quick, man, just want to tell everybody, Hokie Nation, we love you. We appreciate, like we say every weekend, we do this, man. Go Hokies.
Go Hokies.
Like it. Go Hokies.
Go Hokies.